This is Byron, Lazine, and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 272 of The Real Word.
Word is up. I was looking at the wrong camera.
Controversy is up.
Is it? I don't know. You live for this shit.
We were viciously attacked.
Viciously? I don't think it was vicious at all. But I did feel threatened. I told you last night, I'm like, I feel exposed.
Exposed into the Barstool sports world?
No, like, I don't know. Like, well, we'll have to listen to it.
All right, so racket number one, we're leading off with a Barstool Sports attacking this BAM podcast controversy. So we're going to lead off with that. Yeah. We've got a reaction to another insane claim by Patrick Bet-David on home values, and then a story of how renters think about the possibility of actually buying a home. But let's start it. The podcast reaction. So this is off of the Kirk Minahan podcast. The Kirk Minahan show. I'm sorry. Kirk Minahan show is a Barstool show. We're going to listen in just to this one little part.
When did this come out?
This was May 5th. This is their May 5th show.
Did someone send this along
Friday.
to you, or did you just happen to listen to it?
Somebody who lives in Boston who listens to Kirk Minahan. Listen.
Okay.
I used to listen to Kirk Minahan when he was back on WEEI before he went to Barstool. I was, I don't know, maybe 20 years old when he was on EEI. He was on the Jerry Callahan and John Dennis show, I believe that's the other guy's name. And he was like the third guy. That's when the show was number one in Boston. He was at EEI like right at the end of their run, and now he's at Barstool at the end of their run because obviously in the last couple of weeks Barstool has been in controversy mode because you're not allowed to say, what you really want to say. They're not a free speech platform anymore now because they're owned by big corporate. Yep. And let's listen to anyways, we had a direct attack on the Real Word pod.
Direct attack.
Let's listen into. This is not Kirk Minahan, to be specific.
No, it is not. But it's a producer of his show that when they were asked what kind of podcast would they want to have.
Let's listen in. So the producer of the Kirk Minahan show, and Kirk, I've always appreciated your content.
Yes.
You should do a real estate podcast with Cullinane.
Oh, we would fucking dominate.
He's a real estate giant.
There's some gross products out there that we would just
trample on. What are you talking about?
Like the Real Word. Like her and I would fucking destroy those two.
What is that?
Oh, they're these real estate people. I think they're out of Providence.
They do a podcast?
I've had my eye on them for years to take them down.
They do a podcast?
Yeah.
You've had your eye on them for years?
Yeah, because then they partnered with Inman, which is clearly the biggest trade in residential real estate. So it's one of those things.
They are?
Yeah, you know
Inman.
I'm in commercial real estate.
Right, but she's in commercial, but
what's it called?
We can piggyback off of each other.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm good with residential
Real Word,
too.
I believe.
What do they talk about?
They talk about all the real estate trends. Byron, Lazine, and Nicole White. Yeah, I've wanted to take these two down for years.
Is this the two with the? It says 34 reviews, Dave. I don't think you have to worry about them.
No, trust me, they're darlings, and Inman is the biggest residential real estate news thing, and they always are with Inman. I want to take that down. Yeah.
They had Barber on.
Of course they did, because they're probably affiliated somehow.
I'm going to
with
listen to
real
that,
estate
Dave.
company.
Get your ticket to an all-day exclusive mastermind golf experience at Tiberian Golf Club at Ritz Naples on Friday, May 5th. Yeah. Today. You could book it right here. Jesus, Dave, I would like that.
And they did this thing that was like the 5 a.m. club. Like you were worthless if you weren't up at 5 a.m. already working and getting ready and all this stuff, which I loved. I was part of the crew.
I was running at 5 this morning.
Right. I was part of the crew, but I kind of want to overtake that too. I want to motivate people.
4 a.m.
4:59 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess. Yeah. Are you an early riser?
Kirk Minahan is an early riser. All right, so that's basically it right there.
Take us down.
So this guy, Dave
Cullinane. Yes.
On the Kirk Minahan show, the producer. He's had his eyes on us for years to take us down.
We are darlings, though. He did say we were darlings.
Yeah, well, whatever that means. He was part of the 5 a.m. call.
He did say he was part of it.
But
did you ever... So I'm not a part of the 5 a.m. call. I think I've moderated. I think my husband's moderated. I attempted to do the 5 a.m. call, but I've never felt like you've made me feel like I'm a loser if I'm not on the 5 a.m. call.
No, I mean...
I'm like a 6:30 call. I could do a 6:30 call.
It's just if we're happy about doing a 5 a.m. call, doesn't mean that you have to do it.
I definitely don't do it.
We've never begged anyone to do it.
I'm not a part of the 5 a.m. I'll listen to the 5 a.m. maybe at 5 p.m.
The 5 a.m. calls over 2,000 something, over 2,600 people, and we started it never asking anybody to do it. It was four of us that just wanted to do it together, and then it just kept growing. Anyways, that's not what this is about.
Not what it's about.
So it did a quick little research on Dave Cullinane, and he's had his eye on us to take us down as a real estate podcast for years.
I feel like maybe I should lock my doors.
Well, Nicole, he does have his own real estate podcast. It's called Real Estate Talk Boston. Yep. And I don't know, they haven't posted on Facebook since 2021.
2021, yeah. Is he a real estate agent, do we know?
I don't know. It seems like mortgage. It seems like the other girl on there was commercial.
She was commercial,
real estate.
yes.
Okay.
She doesn't wake up till, like, what is it, 8:30 or something, she said?
So here's what I'll say to Dave and to Barstool Sports. If you want to take us down, go for it. Start doing some real estate content, and maybe you could come on BAM and we could do a little debate, Dave, since you're so good and you know so much about the industry. Even though you've clearly failed when you've tried to start your own real estate content, you never made it in the past. You obviously dropped out of real estate in some respect because you dropped out of the 5 a.m. call, and now you're Kirk Minahan's lapdog. So if you want to actually compete, your real estate knowledge against ours, and you can bring your friend. She sounded very pleasant in the commercial real estate industry. We'll bring you onto the BAM platform. We'll do a live debate. I've done it with Ricky Caruth. I've done it with appraisers. We'll do a live debate on BAM. You, Barstool versus BAM on real estate knowledge. What's that movie with Adam Sandler and not Adam? Is it Adam Sandler?
I don't know.
Yeah, Adam Sandler.
Keep explaining.
He's trying to win his Bobby would know.
His grandmother's house back?
Yeah, I know. Like he's trying to win his father's money, and they do the
he's got to do is the grade, like first grade, second grade, like that?
They're like running and they're like getting all this. Yeah, they go through the whole thing. Billy Madison. We'll do a little real estate 101, Dave.
It's interesting though, because I guess I'm confused as to what he wants to take down. Does he want to take our podcast down because he wants to be on Inman? He seemed a little jealous there.
And first of all,
or he wants to take Inman down. Sound like you want to take Inman down.
Let's clear one thing up. We've now started BAM. We're not on Inman anymore. We actually were able to create something. We don't have to be the producer of the Kirk Minahan show, which is a dying show anyways.
Yikes. Kirk, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Kirk, because I do actually love your content, but Barstool's dying overall, so we can't do a debate on there because you can't say whatever you want on Barstool anymore. You know that from the last couple of weeks with the controversy. But Dave's actually never built anything in real estate, but yet he thinks he's a real estate genius. And you've never started a company. The ones that you have failed. Racing. You've got Real Estate 360 Productions. When I looked them up, their website didn't even reference you, but you still reference it in your LinkedIn. Real Estate Talk Boston, real estate executive producer, which is just basically non-present in the industry. So you said you've had your eye on us to take us down for years. You've attempted to make an impact in real estate. You've never done it. What I get out of Dave is he is somebody who tried to do real estate as his career, couldn't make it, and so now he's working another job. Okay, and nothing wrong with that.
No,
work your other job. I think the Kirk Minahan content is probably great. I haven't listened in a while. A friend of mine from Boston sent it to me. If he's still listening, I would imagine that Kirk's a funny guy, so I think there's probably something good there. But you know so much about real estate. Come on and talk about it. You're not making an impact in the industry. Nobody knows your name in the industry, by the way. So come on with us. We'll actually give you a presence and a platform in a small industry like real estate. It's not a sports industry, but we'll make your name known, Dave. We'll get you on here.
But we are in Connecticut.
And we're in Connecticut.
We are in Connecticut. We're not in Providence. We're in a small little town with maybe 15,000 people in it. Definitely not Providence.
So Barstool's being canceled right now.
Oh, yeah?
So maybe this could be a good thing for you. You could get a little real estate niche.
Okay.
Barstool.
Maybe
Portnoy will retweet this.
Maybe Kirk wants to be on BAM. Maybe he needs a new platform.
Yeah, Kirk, come over to BAM.
Yeah,
we'll
that'll
bring
be
you
fun.
in. I don't think Kirk wants to talk real estate, but
no, you don't. But weren't you talking about going you guys have been talking about going the sport route a little, right? I think I heard you guys.
I don't know about that.
I heard you guys chatting a little bit about it.
Not
the
me.
Other day.
That was somebody else.
I heard about it.
That was psychotic talk. I think that's insane. We're a real estate platform. But Dave clearly has been thinking about this for years.
Yeah,
so.
He knew my kid. So you sent me the clip, and you texted to me. So I was playing it in the car while we were driving. I was driving my kids to their lacrosse games, and again when I was listening to, because right before that they had a guest on there talking about 3 kids, and I'm like, what, Byron? He knows how I feel about my 3 children. And then all of a sudden my kids were like, "Is that you?" I was like, I don't know. Why are they talking about me? I felt it was the first time I think that I felt so exposed, taking us down and listening to us for years. And I mean, now he's she's trying to buddy up with someone. And by the way too, we never had Barbara Corcoran. We're not affiliated with Barbara.
No, we're not affiliated.
We don't pay to be part of the Corcoran group.
We're actually
that
talking,
was a thumbnail.
Yeah.
That was a thumbnail.
That was around the same time as the Bare Minimum Monday Talk, which NBC News Nightly just interviewed me for a national segment. And then they didn't air it Sunday night because there was all this insane news over the weekend.
Yeah.
With the crazy world we live in. But
maybe
that'll be this Sunday. Maybe I was too controversial.
You are darling, though. I'm shy. I think you have to say thank you to him, though. He called you darling.
I don't know. Would be that was more of a shot, wasn't it?
I don't know. That would be the last word I would use for you. Would be darling.
Listen, Dave. You've been thinking about it for years.
Yeah,
you want to have a name.
He didn't hesitate.
No, you want to have a name in the real estate industry. We're going to give you the opportunity. Come on, bring your friend. She seems like she's actually actively in the business in commercial real estate.
Commercial.
Bring her
in the city.
We'll do it. You and her. You guys said you would crush us. That was Dave's words, not hers. I'm not putting words in her mouth. But we'll do a 2-on-2 debate on BAM. We'll get the broke agent promotions behind it. You'll actually then have some awareness in the industry for the first time in 7 years. You've been trying for a long time to do that. All right, let's go to an even more crazy statement.
You're really juiced up. Maybe it's the Connecticut air.
Maybe it is. From Patrick Bet David. We've reacted to PBD clips before.
Yes.
Now, at least this is coming from a credible business person, not a guy producing the Kirk Minahan show.
Okay.
Patrick Bet David knows his stuff.
He does listen, though. I mean, Dave does. I mean, look, he put you on the Barstool.
He doesn't listen anymore because he thought we were still with Inman, so he hasn't been listening.
Well, it hasn't been that long
recently.
Since we've been with Inman.
Let's react to this.
He did think we were in Providence.
The title of this YouTube video, and flash this. This is just the beginning.
Okay.
Home prices reach lowest level in over a decade.
Prices, yeah.
So this is the Valuetainment, 4.2 million subscribers. That's the title. Home prices reach lowest level in over a decade. Let's react to this.
Home prices in March posted biggest annual decline in 11 years. Biggest annual decline in 11 years. It fell 2.4% in March to an annual rate of 4.4 million, marking the 13th time in 14 months that sales have declined. According to National Association of Realtors, the March drop follows February's surprise rise of 13 3/4 from the previous month. The slowdown in the housing market is now affecting prices, which fell 0.9% year on year to median existing home price of $375,000. Folks, there's nothing in Florida, South Florida at $375,000. This is places like Toledo, but the housing market is slowing down due to a rise in mortgage rates, high home prices, and low inventory levels. Housing starts, which measure U.S. home building, fell 0.8% in March from February. According to the Commerce Department, the number of new listings in March fell 20% year over year.
What he said there, and I don't know if we need to go back and listen to it one more time.
I feel like he breathes really heavy. That's all I kept concentrating on.
So what he was talking about there was transactions.
Right.
He did mention prices,
well,
but
it's funny though because he said, but he did say because interest rates have gone up and prices have gone up. I mean, he did mention that. So
transactions right now for March, 4.44 million units. This is according to NAR. He was referencing NAR, all right? The median sale price of $375,700, okay? Now, he's making the classic mistake of sales versus prices.
Right.
Okay? What we've actually seen in March is that for the month of March, home prices went up.
Right.
For the first time since 2012, we saw home prices go down month over month for 7 months straight. We actually haven't seen year over year prices decline yet.
Right.
And this is why even listening to somebody smart like Patrick Bet David to get your real estate news, certainly mainstream media, is a really bad idea. Or tune into the hot sheet every single morning. Tune into this, tune into BAM content because we're studying it and looking at it every single day. But people are looking at these national reports and they're getting it all twisted. They're looking at the fact that transactions are so far down because inventory is so far down, and they're saying that the market and prices are down. It's not true.
Right.
Okay. It's also when we've flashed the chart where if you look at the last 10 decades, I mean, home prices just continue to accelerate.
Right.
Right. Home values just in the last 2 years are up 40% in most markets. Now, there are some markets where what he said would be true. If you look at Austin year over year, you're down 10%. I just went through this on this morning's hot sheet from.
He mentioned Toledo though too.
Yeah, Toledo. Las Vegas is down year over year. So there are specific markets, but Zillow Home Price Index has a still up almost 2% year over year on home prices. He mentioned NAR's. So let me bring up NAR's prices. But Nicole, your reaction to Patrick Bet-David?
I just was listening to him breathe. Did you hear how he was?
He's got really good microphone quality.
He did. I just wish he read it a little bit. I feel like he needs to read a little bit slower, which makes me feel like maybe we need to read ours a little slower too.
So here's the number he said, the negative 2.4%, right?
Yep.
He said negative 2.4%. I'm on NAR's website right now. That's existing home sales. Existing home sales fell 2.4% in March, with month-over-month sales remaining steady in the north, blah, 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 blah. I've covered this a bunch on the hot sheet. That is not prices, okay? That is not prices. That is sales. It's total sales. There's a big difference, and you've got, every time you say this stat on information in your local market, if you're breaking it down for your market or your state or what have you, you've got to talk as if you're educating somebody for the first time, the difference between sales and home values.
Right.
There's two incredibly different things, okay? Home values are up from today comparison to 2013. They're up quite a bit, okay? And so he said the lowest in 10 years. That's just not accurate. Okay, so that was the number that he was referencing. And he got a little bit confused, and their title in there is also just not accurate on that YouTube channel. And that's where you got to be careful when you're getting into real estate and you just don't know what you're talking about, okay? The year of here's the mean price, which
US.
I like to use the median, but this is mean sales price according to NAR. Annual and monthly, so 2022 to current. And if we look at 2022, U.S. mean price was $503,300. And then March, oh no, where do we want to go here? We want to go March.
Well, you could look at March of 22 was 501.
501, but March of 23 is 486 too. Okay, so I like to look at the median, but that's what it's showing here for the mean price of existing homes for NAR. Still, if we, it's not, let me pull all the way back to 2013. Why is it? Oh, it's only one page there. If we go back to, what should I use here? Sometimes NAR doesn't have the best information or the best chart to go all the way back. Do we want to go to, I know what to go to. Let's go to Fred, F-R-E-D, the, let me find it here.
It must be in one of your 15 million tabs.
I have all these show links. So if you go to the Fred website, it'll give you, it's the St. Louis Federal Reserve. It's where you see a lot of these charts from. If I go to Case-Shiller, you can see here, let's go to National Home Price Index, okay? So we're on here. Let's go to, so he was in 2013, he was talking, right?
I think he said 11 years. 11
years? Okay,
yeah,
even
so
better.
it was
even
2012,
better.
yeah. I mean, there you
March
are.
2012 and today. Let's just screenshot this. The home price index in March 2012 was 137.9. Today it's 296.6.
Right.
Okay, so it's like 2.5x higher today on the price index. You can, we'll link this down below too, so you can take a look at it and play around with it. Home prices are up considerably. Home sales, total transactions, are obviously down considerably, right. And that's due to inventory. And Patrick Bet-David in that show, they've been rooting against the housing market for quite some time. So anytime they get a glimpse of a headline that supports that, they jump on it. But that's why I make sure that you are articulating it in basic elementary forms when you're educating your clients so that they understand the difference between the two. All right. Bracket number 3, 72% of renters believe home ownership will never happen. According to a recent report by Homebase, 72% of renters believe that homeownership is never going to happen for them.
Ever.
Survey participants cited inflation and interest rates as the main reasons for the lack of affordable homes in today's market. While renters have a pessimistic view of their chances at homeownership, many are willing to think outside of the box in order to buy a home. 85% still aspire to achieve the dream of owning a home. Nicole, many feel like winning the lottery is the only feasible way to make it happen.
Yeah.
Which is much longer.
But we talked about that with I think the last article we talked about, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, about winning the lottery.
Yeah. Is this a complete racket?
I think it's a total racket. I think, like we say, week in and week out, be the educator. This is, I mean, again, if you're talking about 72% of an 85% population, right? Because they're saying 85% want it, and of that 72% say. What
would you say to the 66% of renters that say, they feel hopeless? 72% say they'll never have the money to buy a home.
Say it used to be, but isn't anymore.
35% of renters saying own a home is not a part of the American dream. So what would you say to these renters that have this in their head, that came to you and said, hey, I do want to buy a house, but here's how I'm thinking?
Well, I mean, I think you need to sit down and really educate them about how far their dollar can go. I mean, right now, like a 1-bedroom apartment around here is probably almost $2,000, right? So
national average is over $2,300.
I'm sure. I'm just thinking about that's as cheap as I've seen recently. 1-bedroom, it was fully furnished and it was like academic. Yeah. So like you're not even able to bring your own shit in there. So you're stuck with everyone's knickknacks. And I only know that just because I have someone that's filling one.
I'm sorry. The average monthly mortgage right now in April went up to over $2,300. That was the mortgage.
So fine. So again, I think that that's important information though too. I mean, if someone's willing to pay $1,900 for an academic rental without their own shit, I mean, let's figure out how to get you into a mortgage. I think it needs to be a little bit more factual, especially if they're listening to, headlines that are misleading them into believing that they can't afford it. Everyone keeps talking about how high the interest rates are, blah, blah, blah. I mean, in 2005, my husband and I bought our first house. Our interest rate was 6.25%. We were thrilled. So again, I think it's really just coming down to educating, letting them know, again, the budget. Again, I feel like I always go back now to that lovely Zillow feature about, the monthly cost instead of the actual purchase price. I think this is the time to over-educate and to make buyers feel comfortable. Again, and especially since there's so many of them feeling so uncertain of their future and if the American dream is really something that they can attain. I mean, what an incredible audience that you now have that's willing to now listen.
Markets will shift. They always do. They're not going to shift the way Patrick Bet-David is calling for some type of a cliff. And he was talking about 10-20% national home price drop in 2023. We know that home values bottomed in February and they started going up in March, and in April everybody's reporting that and showing that. So, if anything, at worst, national home prices for 2023 might be flat. You're going to have some one-offs like Austin and some other places, but Austin went up in April month over month. So they said their 10% year-over-year decline and then, started to increase. You're not going to see any type of a cliff outside of maybe a few different locations. New Orleans was the only major city in April that actually saw a month-over-month home price decline. Everybody else was up, but markets do shift. We're not going to be in this type of low inventory forever. Right. Could it be the story for the next 5 years? Certainly appears there's no way out of it when you've got people locked into 2s and 3s. Until those rates come back down to, into the 4s, you're not going to loosen up some of that inventory, or until we figure out a way to get more affordable inventory onto the market. But if you go to 2012 to 14, 15, certainly in the Northeast, you couldn't give a home away. You couldn't even get a showing on many homes above the median price point. So markets always will shift. They're going right now. We've swung so far one direction, you can't see yourself getting back the other way. Right. We will get back the other way. People will find home owning more affordable than it is today at some point in the future. But listen, when you're printing this much money, I think home prices are going to remain high. And when the dollar is worthless, what are you going to do with your earned income? Okay, if you're just going to give it away to rent, I would really encourage you to try to tighten up. Dave Ramsey, your this is the kind of education I would give to buyers. Like Dave Ramsey, your living situation right now, so that you can put it into an asset, because real estate is going to be one of the only things worth anything
right.
over the next 10, 20, 30 years in this country. The dollar is getting more worthless by the day. Unless you can camp out in the metaverse, I'd encourage you to go buy some real estate so that you can protect the money that you earn. We had an agent
actually on our team did you see Victoria's reel? She did a reel on that, about buying and about how much you put down and then how much it will increase over the next 5 years. Yeah. And then how much money they're then able to pull out in order to buy the next home. Again, the first home might not be the dream home, but it'll certainly set you up for it.
It's gone up 25, 30, 40+% in each of the last 4 decades.
Right.
So I know it's hard getting that first one. Once you get that first one,
right? It's like Barbara. You got to get in.
Yeah,
got to get in.
That. Yeah, it's like Barbara Barstool. So Barstool, the invite's open.
It's here.
Barstool versus BAM debate. Come on, Dave. You want to make a name in real estate? This is the way to do it. We'll see you hopefully on that debate in the next coming weeks. We're certainly going to tag Barstool in this pod. I'm going to retweet. I don't know, that Dave guy, I think he's on Twitter, so we'll hopefully
maybe we can get to him through Kirk, maybe.
Yeah, Kirk.
Two professionals.
I don't think Kirk cares, but
no,
he doesn't.
Well, he was interested. He was looking into it.
He wanted to go play golf.
He was the one. He did. Maybe you invite him the next time you're down there. Invite him to play golf with you. And then, he said we had 35 reviews, and he's like,
on Apple.
He pretty much said we were nothing too. So
come check out the YouTube channel, and we'll hopefully see you on here in a live debate. Push this over to Barstool. Tag them. They are. Maybe this will help them get out of their controversy, and we'll see you.
Oh yeah, you're going to be the.
Yeah, we're going to be the savior.
The White Knight.
We're the savior.
Oh boy.
By the way, sign up to BAMX. The link is down below. We'll see you on the next Real Word.
See you guys.